If you're thinking or wondering, is there a way for me to live in a way that peace and calmness is my constant emotional state, as opposed to stress and anxiety and the different types of feelings that you're feeling on a normal daily basis, given what's going on around you, given what's going on in the world? How do I get this feeling of calmness and peace to be my natural state? One of the ways to do that is to tap into your higher self. The reason this is a good solution is because your higher self sees you and sees your life through a different lens. The lens that the higher self sees you through is one of clarity, one of wisdom, and of course, detachment, as opposed to the lens that we're normally looking through, which is attachment, very ego based, which lends itself to fear and anxiety, stress across the board. So, what we're going to do today is talk about some ways to tap into your higher self on a more consistent basis, a couple daily practices that are going to help you to see through that lens on a more regular basis. And the result, of course, is going to be calmness and peace and some level of confidence and certainty within your existence, as opposed to what may be going on now. So, when things happen within your personal life, or things happening around you within the world, be it politics or unrest or whatever the case may be, whatever it is that's creating a emotional response within you, a disturbing emotional response, we're going to see it through the lens of the higher self. And I think that's going to help you greatly. So stick around and let's go through those daily practices. Before we do that, I'd like to welcome everybody into Rethink. It is really great to have you guys here, whether you're listening to us through our podcast feeds, through Buzzsprout and Google and Pandora and Apple and, iHeartRadio and all that good stuff, or whether you're over here with us on YouTube. Either way, thank you guys for listening. We would ask you to please subscribe wherever you are, follow us wherever you are. And then, secondly, please be kind enough to share our content with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and associates. That will really help us greatly to get a message like this out. I'm sure you know someone who lives, in a vibration that's probably not most beneficial to them. So this works for you, and more than likely will work for them. Don't forget to check us out on our website, Rethink Podcast and the number one, Rethink Podcast and the number one. A lot of goodies there. You can tap into some of our workbooks and different types of programs that we've created to help you, whether it is, affecting your life the way you eat. We've got a fasting workbook there. And then we also have a gratitude journal. We have a gratitude journal, and I want you guys to really check it out. As a matter of fact, I think I have mine in the studio. Yep, I do. I have mine right here in the studio. So for those of you on YouTube, I want to show you this is what the gratitude journal looks like. And it is 100 days to gratitude. You can get this through our website. It's going to pop right up there as soon as you go to the website. So just click on that link and it'll take you to that particular journal. But I love that journal. It's something we created for you, our listener, so that you're going to find many of the practices that we're going to offer, many of the things that we offer you in terms of solution has to do with gratitude, gratitude, meditation. A lot of that's going to be in the mix. So why not have your own gratitude journal? And yes, that money goes straight back to the podcast to help us to grow and to do different things. So let's jump into it. We're talking about your daily mindset, creating a level of peace and calmness within your existence on a regular basis. How do I live consistently in confidence and security and some level of peace and assurance? So we want calmness and we want peace. Well, the higher self looks at you in a different way. And one of the ways it looks at you is through the lens of detachment. Detaching from our ego and reactivity is one of the main things that we can do. Now, you may have heard it said that it's not so much the problem's not the problem, it's how you are responding to the problem. So your response is your feeling. So a lot of times, whatever happens, happens. Okay. And then there's some feeling around that particular situation. And that's usually how we respond. But if we detach from it, we're able to look at it from an objective standpoint as opposed to a subjective standpoint. Now, of course, you're asking, well, Kelly, how do I do that? Of course, because if that it was so easy, everybody would do it. Well, first of all, let's talk about the ego. The ego often reacts to situations with fear and with anger and defensiveness. Okay. What does that sound like? That sounds like a primal state. That sounds like you're fight or flight. You're trying to survive. This inner turmoil or whatever it is. This situation has created some level of inner turmoil within you. So when you connect with your higher self, you detach from what I'm calling a ego-driven response. These ego-driven response usually lead you into some sort of self-preservation, the base emotions. Instead, uh, view the challenges from a broader, more objective perspective. This is the perspective of the higher self. So the detachment allows you to respond calmly without emotional reactivity, uh, and that emotional reactivity usually is what leads to stress and anxiety. Now, specifically detachment, how do we do that? Well, with the connectivity to your higher self, this comes through a practice, daily practice of meditation and mindfulness, understanding who you are on the larger level. You are the big I, not the small me. You can see yourself as a creative force and the awareness of what is, as opposed to a 3D figure, your name and then your race or your sexuality. It's really not who you are. But we travel and traverse through this life thinking, for the most part, that's who we are. But you're a bigger entity than that. So see yourself as your higher self. Your higher self is the part of you that doesn't exist in time, has seen the completeness of your journey, and knows that this path is your path, and this is just one way to get you to where you need to go. So another benefit of accessing your higher self is the access to inner wisdom. The higher self, as you may know, is connected to wisdom that transcends what we normally have within our immediate circumstances. So when you align yourself with your higher self, particularly on a regular basis, you can tap into higher levels of consciousness. I've referred to this in the past as Christ consciousness. It can be universal mind, whatever you like to call it. It is that level that all things exist on. You have access to everything on that level. So when you align yourself with your higher self, you're able to tap into wisdom, which can provide clarity and understanding. When you gain clarity and understanding about your situation, usually that brings some level of peace and some level of calmness. But the only way you can do it is if you tap into that higher self that can give you some level of understanding, perhaps, of what to do in a situation like this. Can help you beyond the surface level as well. The problems are surface levels, and you need to recognize that situations are temporary and they are manageable. One of the things I tell my kids is when you go through situations, you need to kind of file it like a filing cabinet. Why? Because there will be more situations. Life is about challenges. Life is about opportunities to improve and to expand. Because we're spirit, we're always expanding. So we're going to always get opportunities to expand. So instead of looking at these situations as problems, look at them as opportunities to expand your spirit, and you're always going to be expanding. You're never going to be satisfied. I don't care what kind of car you get, what kind of wife or husband you marry, what kind of house you live in. None of that is going to satisfy you. You are spirit. You are not this flesh. You're going to always be expanding because you're made in the image and the likeness of all there is. And so you will expand. And one of the ways for you to expand is to go through challenges. And you need these opportunities to show yourself that you can do these sorts of things. So without these challenges, how else will you know that, who you are, basically? So one of the things, and I'm going to just kind of put a pin in it, I think this is important to say here as it relates to the inner wisdom and getting through these challenges. If you always have the thought in your mind of who you really are and the purpose of life, my statement on purpose of life while we're here is relatively simple, and that is self-realization. Okay. So if we're here to really realize who we are, and like U.S. Anderson said in three magic words, you are God. You're gonna to have these challenges and overcome these challenges to see the type of power that you really do have as a creator for you to come to the realization of who you really are. Okay. So welcome these problems, call them challenges, but know that it's going to catapult you to the next level of consciousness and to the next and to the next. Just like Einstein said, you are not going to be able to solve a problem with the same level of consciousness that you used to create it. You're going to have to go higher and higher. The third thing is enhance perspective. By connecting to your higher self, you get an enhanced perspective of the situation. So, viewing your situation from a broader and a more enhanced perspective, i.e., the lens of the higher self, you can begin to see the challenges, as I said before, as opportunities. Opportunities for growth and not necessarily threats. This shift in mindset, it reduces the fear and the anxiety and the stress, the uncertainty and the change. So while you may embrace life's ups and downs, or I'm suggesting you embrace life's ups and downs, and this can keep you calm, you can have an open attitude, and you can naturally cultivate a sense of peace. But if you see every situation as a threat, you're going to be constantly in a reactive state, in a primal state, in a fight or flight state, and you're going to be not very comfortable, not very happy. People are not going to be very happy to be around you. You've got to change the way that you see your situations. Instead of calling them problems, look at them as challenges. Rework this in your mind. Embrace the change. Embrace the opportunity. Know it's there for you to do one thing, to expand and to grow. The next thing is increase emotional stability. By tapping into your higher self, you can increase your emotional stability. You become less responsive and reactive and more action oriented. You're controlling the action. So the higher self is stable. That's one thing you should know about your source, yourself, your higher self, your true self, your God, whatever you're calling it. That part of you is stable. It's not concerned. It's not in fear. It's not worried. It is not surprised. It knows all. So that is part of you. So when you tap into that, take on as much as you can some of those characteristics as well. Your higher self is stable. It is unwavering. It is centered. So when you revert to this state, you're less affected by things that are happening on the outside. Even if it's a very difficult situation, if you really meditate on who you are at your core, this can bring you some peace and some calm. At the end of the day, knowing that you're being guided by your higher power, your God, your true self, your higher self, your source, however, your light energy, however you want to describe it, just know that this is a energetic high level of consciousness, and it knows and is tapped into all things. So that is part of you, and you are able to benefit from that relationship because you're trusting and you're believing that your situation has a solution. While you can't see it, you don't know what it is, you are working toward that solution, and you're trusting and believing that your higher self has your best interest in mind. Okay? Now, the last thing is alignment with purpose. So, a few months ago, first of the year, we spent quite a bit of time talking about our purpose and starting off the year right and understanding what it is that we want to do and the impact we want to make for 2024. So many of you have already established what your purpose is. So, but if you haven't, your self concept is so critical and so important to your life's journey. Why? Because that is the blueprint. If you don't have a clear understanding of what your purpose is and why you're here, when you get these challenges, you will be confused. You will not tie the two together. Here's an example. If your purpose here is to really be expansive and to be able to help a large quantity of people, let's say your purpose is to feed a number of people. Your purpose is, community work and working in the society. And you know you need a lot of resources to do that. Well, maybe now you feel like I have a lack of resources, I have a lack of funds, I don't have a big network. Well, when the opportunities or problems come to you, they're usually positioning you to be better with your resources. They're usually positioning you to gain a larger network, all of the things that you're going to need in order to be successful in your life's purpose. And this small situation or challenge can be matched up against your life's purpose. And it gives you some level of resolve, knowing that once I do get through this part of it, this is putting me closer to my end goal. This is putting me closer to who I say I really want to be, my purpose in life. But you got to know what your purpose is. You got to know where your passions lie, because if you don't, you're going to be really, really confused sometimes when these challenges come. So, your higher self is aligned with your true purpose and your values, your core values. So, when you live from this place of knowing, you feel you're connected with your life's meaning. And no matter what happens, that this is my life's purpose. Somehow, this situation, this problem, this challenge is going to work out. Repeat to yourself on a constant basis. That is a really good affirmation to keep at the forefront of your mind, because there are going to be situations weekly, monthly, that pop up. And the first thing you should say to yourself, what I say to myself is, well, I didn't anticipate this, but whatever this is, I know that it's going to work out for my better good. Whatever the universe is bringing my way, I just automatically accept every day. I say I'm open to accepting the abundance, the fun, the love, the joy, the challenges, whatever you have for me today, I openly accept it for one reason. I know it's for my better good, and I know it's toward my life's purpose and my life's journey. So if you do this every day, eventually you really will believe it. This is not something that you're taught in grade school, Bible school, church, or whatever. Different philosophy. It's a more it's less of who you are and what to do. You're not told that you are a creator. You're not told that your thoughts create. You're not told that you're in the image of God, or that you are source itself, that you're an extension of source. No one's telling you this, well, at least in these institutions. But if you begin to understand that, you can take charge of your life, and you can be less fearful. You can be less stressful. You can have less anxiety. No matter what is going on currently, you know that whatever it is the universe is bringing to me. I trust the universe. I trust my source. I trust my higher self. This all works out for my greater good. So, Kelly, um, how do we fix this, and what are some daily practices? Well, here we go. There are three. The first I've already talked about. You've got to continue to dig deeper into your meditation and mindfulness. If this is new information to you, you're new to the channel, you don't meditate, or you don't understand what mindfulness is, then I would say revert back to some of our older podcasts or some of our older videos, so that you can hear. And I'll see if I can find one and put it in the comments, so that we can walk you through a meditative practice. But meditation is basically your quiet space. You're spending time with yourself, because that's where the answer is. Everything that you need will come from you. Everything that you need, you already have. So sit down and figure out how to unlock yourself and get the things out of you that you know innately are in you. Okay. And what's in you is the solution to this challenge. I assure you, what is in you is the solution to this challenge. And in meditation is where you can unlock it. So the quiet time, the space that you use mentally, consciously to dig into yourself, spend time with yourself, that's where your solution is going to come from. So regular mindfulness and meditation can help you connect to your higher self and simply ask the question, what are my next steps? Universe is not surprised. Your higher self knows what's going on. Say, hey, what are my next step? I'm trusting you to lead me and guide me. And who are you talking? You're talking to yourself. The next thing are affirmations and positive self-talk. Well, I mentioned to you before that one of the things that I always say to myself is, no matter what comes, I know that it works out to my better good. This gives you the advantage of any situation. You're able to look at any situation, whatever it is, and if you're really into and connected with your higher self, you know that this is going to add to you, not subtract from you, and it's going to make me a better version of myself. Now, listen, there are some tough situations that people are dealing with. I don't minimize that. Believe me, I have lost a father. My father was murdered when I was a small boy. I've had some difficult situations in my life. And I know, especially now, people are dealing with difficult situations financially and politically. People are all over the place. So I'm not minimizing the situations, but I'm also not going to put them over source or the universe or God. They are here. Your consciousness is above it, or it can be above it if you tap in to your higher self. Now, the last thing is reflection and journaling. Very important to reflect on what's taking place in your life on a regular basis. It is so critical to your success spiritually, for your spiritual growth, for your self improvement, to identify areas of improvement. Celebrate them, write them down, make a big deal to yourself about it, because that's what's going to continue to keep you motivated and continue to keep you in this practice. So, reflection and journaling are two of the most important things that you can do to help keep yourself stimulated and motivated. Once you see these practices working, it's no different than when you go into the gym and you start seeing some effects in your physical body. When you begin to see effects in your spiritual body, you need to celebrate those as well. You need to reflect on those. You need to just purpose yourself to say, you know what? This is a clear result of my weeks of meditation, my confirmation, my affirmations, you need to really hone in on what you're doing and make your practice real for you. Using these three techniques, I'm certain that you can connect to your higher self on a deeper level. Connecting to your higher self on a deeper level is going to allow you to look at your life from a different lens. And once you consistently look at your life from a different lens, that lens of clarity, wisdom, and detachment is going to allow you to be less nervous, anxious, and stressful about any situations that pop up in your life. I hope this has really helped you guys today. I really appreciate you guys listening. And listen, like I said, come on back. We're going to have new stuff for you a couple times a week. We're trying to build up to every day. We'll see what we can do about that. Well, actually, I'm not going to say I'm trying. We're going to do that. We're on our path to daily videos, particularly over on the YouTube side. We've done it a couple times on the podcast side. We've got a plethora of different content areas that we're going to attack. So if you like this, please go ahead and subscribe so you don't forget that, where we are. And hey, go check out our website and get you one of those gratitude journals or whatever else that we have out there. And we appreciate you. We'll be back soon. Thank you, guys.